So, yeah, I really believe this about races, that you got to ask the questions no matter how awkward they are. And then if you are being asked the question, I think you have a responsibility to be patient. Go ahead, answer the question. And then when you're around your friends, you go, I got asked the stupidest question this morning.
You totally talk about that person behind their back.
Yeah. But to their face, I think you're doing some good work, right?
Right.
All right. So I usually ask these curious Caucasian questions to Mo, but it is taking off apparently because this is an email that we just received from Nashville. I have a curious Caucasian question for Mo. I'm also bringing Keity in for this. I am white and my next door neighbor is black. She's awesome, and we are friendly with each other. I invited her over when we were cooking out the other night. I asked her a question that I honestly have always wanted to know. I prefaced this by saying that this was a curious Caucasian question. I got to be real good friends with that person. All right.
You might give some people some bad advice with this whole curious Caucasian thing.
All right. I'm glad she did it, though, so let's see how it goes. Why do most people say ax instead of ask? Why do they say AKS instead of ask? She looked at me sideways, tried to diffuse the tension by saying it was a Southern thing. Well, I know it's not a Southern thing because Mo says ax instead of ask, and he's from New York. Unless you're from the southern part of New York.
No.
Okay.
Northern part of up north.
My husband said that the question was inappropriate, and now I feel awkward with my neighbor. Was it inappropriate, and what is the real reason for the pronunciation of ax? By the way, I've listened to you guys since day one, and I was at your first public appearance. Love you guys. Thank you. Stephanie from Nashville. So, where would we like to start?
Well, that's a thin line. I mean, I personally have never paid attention to whether or not the word ask is said differently in different cultures. That's new to me. I would have to hear myself say it. I don't purposely try to say ask. I believe I'm saying ask, but maybe I'm not. But I think it would be more of an accent thing than a black thing.
So we're in our 17th year doing the Bert Show, and this has come up one other time with an intern we had before who was a producer as well, Carl. And somebody asked him that, and he said the exact same thing. He's like, what? I say, what? He had no idea that the way he said ask for white people, he was saying ax.
That makes sense. I mean, I'm confused as how I say ask now. I'm like, ask.
I really want to hear myself say it now.
I think I say ask, right? I've never heard that before.
You, Mo, definitely say ax.
I do?
You do.
No one's ever told me.
Really?
I'm not saying I don't. I've never noticed. No one's ever brought that up to me in my life.
All right. So Cassie here, our social media director, went and did a deep dive on YouTube, right?
This is actually a video I saw a little while ago. It's a great series from MTV called Decoded with Francesca Ramsey, and she explains all of you haters who say it's ask, not ax. Both are grammatically correct. It just depends on the history of the word.
The pronunciation ax has actually been part of the English language for centuries. In fact, once upon a time, aka as far back as the 8th century, ax was considered the correct pronunciation. Ever heard of a little old writer named Geoffrey Chaucer? He had ax all up in the Cadbury Tales. Oh, and in the first ever English translation of the Bible, one well-known verse originally went, ax and it shall be given. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, we can trace the origins of ax all the way back to this Old English verb. Saying ask didn't really become a thing until around the 17th century.
All right, now this clip here says used by lower class.
So the clip is labeled that way, but that's not what it meant. It's meant there's a stigma around the word ax that people think people who use ax are lower class or less educated because of the root of the word, but that is actually completely incorrect.
Pronouncing ask as ax is a colloquialism that a lot of people in various parts of the country use, but it's often most associated with people in the South, and more specifically, black people. There's a weird stigma around the usage of ax in the English language. We've been taught to think of ax as a pronunciation used by poor and working class white folks, and especially by black people who speak African American Vernacular English, or AAVE, which was previously known as Ebonics. And a lot of people believe that anyone who uses ax is ignorant, uneducated, and probably lower class.
Stigmatizing the word.
Stigmatizing axe, which is really just a common pronunciation in a dialect of English, is just another way to perpetuate stereotypes about intelligence and wealth. It's also important to remember that institutions like academia, the business world, and the world of entertainment play a part in reinforcing these ideas by prioritizing one set of language or dialect over another.
And one more clip, racial stigma of Ebonics.
Now, it's far from everyone, but lots of black people use AAVE because it's a real, distinct social dialect in English with its own complexities, a rich history, and huge cultural significance. It was born out of the needs of black slaves who spoke different African languages and were not allowed to learn to read or write English. Plus, it has its own grammatical rules. It's not just misspeaking. For example, though thought of as improper in standard English, AAVE allows for the use of double negatives, which is actually common in a lot of languages. But because it's associated with black people, and black people have historically been stereotyped as ignorant, uneducated, and lower class, too often many people hear AAVE and think you're not smart.
Okay, so we played 4 clips, and I still don't know really why.
Okay, so basically,
I was more impressed that she could pronounce colloquialism than anything else.
to simplify it, basically, axe has been used since like the 17th century. Chaucer used it, like a bunch of prolific writers. And then it really stemmed out of AAVE, which is formerly called Ebonics, which was developed out of slavery because a bunch of different slaves spoke different languages, weren't allowed to read and write and learn English. So it's a dialect. Saying axe is a completely acceptable dialect. Mm-hmm. It's correct. I know our listener wasn't saying it wasn't correct, but I hear this thinly veiled racism all the time. It's ask, not axe, when they actually are both completely acceptable and completely correct.
I don't understand why people target certain slang so harshly. And they're like, let me ask my neighbor about this. She needs to, like, riddle me this. Why do you talk like that? And then other slang is fine. Like, I just think some people say it's fire and I say it's cool beans. You know, like, it's just differences in slang.
I don't see it as an illegitimate question. Like, I've always kind of wondered also.
Yeah, but I can understand why her neighbor might have been offended by it, especially if they're not on that level, because it's like, are you stereotyping me because I'm black and how I speak?
Yeah, that's the key right there on that level. Like, these weren't questions that I was asking Mo the very first time we met each other. Hey, sit down. Before I even know your name, I got a curious Caucasian question for you.
Well, it goes back to like assuming the default is white, right? The white pronunciation of ask. And then you're like, why are you different? Mm-hmm. Why are you saying it differently? I don't understand. And it's an innocent question. I think it came from an innocent place, but now you know it's totally normal.
It's also assuming all black people owe you an answer for something. Like, hi, Google. It's there for you.
See, I don't see it that way. I see it more like it's certain things that we do that it's like, okay, I can understand why you would want to know that. Like, why do black people wear do-rag? That makes sense. We all wear do-rags for certain reasons. But I don't think any black person is running around trying to say a word purposely wrong just to be a part of being black. Like, we're not doing that. So if we're saying that, if you're hearing that, that's not a black thing. That could be an accent thing or simply just a person thing.
There's the answer. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
The Bert Show.